The next test took place in a chamber filled with mirrors of various shapes and sizes. The sage handed Orja a small wooden box and said, "In this box is the answer to a riddle. You must find the right mirror to reveal it. The riddle is this: what can be seen but not touched, and exists in both light and darkness?" In a small village nestled in the heart of the African savanna, there lived a man named Orja. Orja was known far and wide for his curiosity and his insatiable desire to understand the mysteries of the world. Unlike other villagers who were content with their daily routines, Orja's mind was always racing with questions. Why did the sun rise and set? How did the stars stay in the sky? But the question that haunted him the most was one that seemed simple yet impossible: how could he see his own back? Orja's fascination with this question began one night when he had a peculiar dream. In the dream, an old man with skin as dark as the richest ebony and eyes that sparkled like the morning dew appeared to him. The old man said, "Orja, you are destined to see what no other man has seen. The day you see your own back, you will unlock a great secret and change your destiny forever." Orja woke up drenched in sweat, his heart pounding. He knew this was not an ordinary dream. The old man's words echoed in his mind, compelling him to seek out the truth. From that day forward, Orja was consumed by the desire to see his own back. Orja's quest became the talk of the village. Many laughed at him, thinking he had lost his mind. "Why do you waste your time on such foolishness, Orja?" they would say. But Orja was undeterred. He visited the village's wisest elders, hoping they might have an answer. Each elder listened to his story but shook their heads, offering no solution. Undeterred, Orja decided to embark on a journey to find the old man from his dream. He believed that this mysterious figure held the key to his quest. With nothing but a small satchel of provisions and a heart full of determination, Orja set off into the wilderness. As he traveled, Orja encountered many challenges. He crossed vast deserts where the scorching sun threatened to drain his spirit, and he navigated dense forests where the sounds of unseen creatures filled the night. Along the way, he met various tribes and learned about their customs and legends, but none could help him see his own back. Months passed, and Orja's hope began to wane. One day, as he wandered through a dense jungle, he stumbled upon an old woman sitting by a fire. She was weaving a basket, her hands moving with the precision of a seasoned artisan. Orja approached her and shared his story. The old woman listened intently and then said, "I have heard of your quest, Orja. You seek something that is both simple and profound. The answer lies with the sage of the mountain, a man who lives in a cave at the summit of the tallest peak in the land. He alone can guide you." Orja thanked the woman and continued his journey, now with a clear destination in mind. The mountain loomed in the distance, its peak shrouded in mist. The climb was arduous, with steep, rocky paths and treacherous cliffs. But Orja pressed on, driven by the promise of finally uncovering the secret of his back. After several days of climbing, Orja reached the cave of the sage. The entrance was guarded by a large stone statue of a lion, its eyes seemingly watching his every move. Mustering his courage, Orja stepped inside. The cave was dimly lit by torches, and the air was thick with the scent of incense. In the center of the cave sat the sage, an old man with a long white beard and eyes that gleamed with wisdom. Orja bowed respectfully and recounted his journey and the dream that had set him on this path. The sage listened quietly and then spoke, "Orja, to see your own back is to understand yourself in a way few ever do. It requires more than just sight, it requires insight. I will help you, but first, you must pass 3 tests. Only then will you be ready." The sage led Orja to a dark tunnel within the cave. "This is the tunnel of fear," he said. "To pass through, you must confront your deepest fears." Orja entered the tunnel, and immediately, the darkness closed around him. He felt a chilling breeze and heard whispers that seemed to come from the shadows. The whispers grew louder, turning into voices that taunted him, reminding him of his failures and doubts. As the voices grew more intense, Orja's heart pounded, and he felt an overwhelming urge to turn back. But he remembered his quest and the promise of the old man in his dream. Drawing on his inner strength, he pushed forward, refusing to let the darkness consume him. Finally, he emerged from the tunnel, his body trembling but his spirit unbroken. The sage nodded approvingly. "You have passed the first test. You have shown courage in the face of fear." The next test took place in a chamber filled with mirrors of various shapes and sizes. The sage handed Orja a small wooden box and said, "In this box is the answer to a riddle. You must find the right mirror to reveal it. The riddle is this: what can be seen but not touched, and exists in both light and darkness?" Orja pondered the riddle as he walked among the mirrors. Each mirror showed a different reflection of him, some distorted, some clear. He thought about the nature of sight and light, and then it struck him, the answer was a shadow. He approached a tall mirror that reflected his shadow perfectly. Holding the box up to the mirror, he saw the lid shimmer and then slowly open, revealing a glowing crystal inside. The sage smiled. "You have passed the second test. You have shown wisdom in understanding the unseen." For the final test, the sage led Orja to the mouth of the cave, where a young woman was sitting, weeping. "This woman is in need of help," the sage said. "To pass the test, you must show true compassion." Orja approached the woman and gently asked what was wrong. She explained that she had lost her way while searching for her brother, who had gone missing in the jungle. Orja listened patiently and then offered to help her find her brother. Together, they ventured into the jungle, calling out for the missing brother. Hours passed, and just as the sun began to set, they heard a faint cry for help. Following the sound, they found the brother trapped in a pit. Orja quickly fashioned a rope from vines and pulled the young man to safety. The woman and her brother thanked Orja profusely. As they made their way back to the cave, the sage met them at the entrance. "You have passed the final test," he said. "You have shown compassion by helping those in need without expecting anything in return." Having passed all 3 tests, Orja stood before the sage, who handed him a small, intricately carved mirror. "This is the mirror of truth," the sage explained. "It has the power to show you what you seek. But remember, seeing your own back is more than a physical act, it is a journey of self-discovery." Orja took the mirror and looked into it. At first, he saw only his reflection. But as he focused, the mirror's surface shimmered and began to show his back. It was a surreal experience, as if he was seeing into a part of himself he had never known. In that moment, Orja understood the deeper meaning of his quest. He saw not just his physical back, but the metaphorical burdens he carried, his fears, his doubts, and his insecurities. He realized that his journey was about facing these inner challenges and emerging stronger. With his new understanding, Orja thanked the sage and began his journey back to his village. The return journey felt different. The landscapes that once seemed daunting now appeared beautiful and welcoming. When Orja arrived home, the villagers were astonished. He shared his story and the lessons he had learned. He spoke of courage, wisdom, and compassion, and how these qualities had helped him see not just his back, but his true self. The villagers listened in awe, and many were inspired to embark on their own journeys of self-discovery. Orja became a respected figure, not for his quest to see his back, but for the wisdom he had gained and shared with others. Years passed, and Orja's story became a legend, passed down through generations. It was said that those who sought the truth within themselves could find it by following Orja's example. The village prospered, its people living by the values of courage, wisdom, and compassion. Orja, now an elder, watched as the younger generation grew,